أمي عائشة أمي عائشة أمي عائشة صحابة النبي الذين بلغهم الله بفوق سبع سماوات.
قد أفلح المؤمنون.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل Muhammad. Respected Muslim brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend himself, who I'm sure many of you have seen the content that he's been putting out. He's been doing some really good research and refuting some very popular shubhas. Brother Lucorios, how are you doing today, Akhi?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Saif. I'm doing very good. And you?
Alhamdulillah. So today, what's the shubha we're going to be going over today?
So there's this very common shubha, mostly used by Sunnis, but one of the reasons we also want to do this event is because me personally, and I don't know about you, Saif, but you probably also been receiving many messages in private from many Shias who ask us this question: is it true that Aisha is al-Mu'minin? And what does exactly this title, al-Mu'minin, or in English, the mother of the believers, what does this mean?
Me personally, I've been asked this question many times over the years, and I've gone over it many times with people over the years. And so it's about time we did a discussion on it, and we showed some sources just to get it out of the way, just to make sure that people have access to an answer, inshallah. But I think I think you'll agree with me, one of the more important reasons why we want to cover this is simply because when we talk about, for example, Aisha, and the things that she did to the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the things she narrated about the Prophet, and then we talk about the fitna, and we talk about what happened at Harb al-Jamal. What's the cope we hear every single time? What's the response we get every single time?
Oh, but she's al-Mu'minin. How dare you?
She's al-Mu'minin. How dare you, you evil, you rafli, you alladhi la isma lak.
الذي لا اسم لك.
Right? It's the same every single
Same
time.
emotional arguments, that's all they have.
It is an emotional argument. It's fundamentally at its core, it is an emotional argument. Because, for example, let's say that a Muslim man's mother were to commit a haram act. Does that mean he's supposed to look the other way, or that he is supposed to, in fact, refrain from criticizing her? And the funny thing is, we know that this is something that the Sahaba used to do, that the Sahaba used to criticize their parents when many of them converted to Islam and their parents were still kuffar. You know, a famous example would be someone like Mus'ab ibn Umayr. But in any case, brother, I'm going to let you take it away, and we're just going to refute this, inshallah.
All right, so this polemic, the word al-Mu'minin, or what we will soon read, it's found in the Quran, in Surah Al-Ahzab, which is chapter 33, verse 6, and it reads, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, النبي أولى بالمؤمنين من أنفسهم وأزواجه أمهاتهم. In English, this will be translated as, the Prophet is more worthy of the believers than themselves, and his wives are their mothers. Or as it says in the brackets here, his wives are in the position of their mothers.
And subhanAllah,
And as we said,
the first part, I just want to point out, and Nabi Awla bil Mu'minina min anfusihim. I'm sure this ayah actually means that the Prophet he's our friend, right? Because the word wali, Awla,
yeah,
Mawla,
the typical
it
Mawla
means
code.
friend. Yeah, exactly. It's not. Yeah, this verse is totally not talking about authority, but that's discussion for another day. But yeah, go on.
Exactly. So after reading this verse, as we said, the average Sunni who usually debates against the Shias, he will come around and he will say,
oh wow, look, Aisha is our mother, al-Mu'minin. Therefore, Aisha is good. It's over, ya Shia. Repent from your Rafidi falsehood and start loving your beloved mother.
And
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. Major shubha here. Major shubha. Big
Shia
shubha.
isn't
Big
refuted.
shubha.
It's over,
Oh
bro.
my lord. It's over. It's over.
So yeah, this is the typical example of someone who interprets the Quran based on his own whims, and he discredits the narrations and the correct tafsir for this verse. And that's right, you need the correct sunnah to understand the Quran. You cannot just be a Quranist and say, Hasbuna kitabullah, especially in front of the Prophet. But hey, alhamdulillah, we the Shia can say that our role models never did that. I'm not sure if Sunnis can say the same. But In any case, what does it mean for Aisha and the rest of his wives to be the quote-unquote mother of the believers? We can give a short answer and a more detailed answer. And the short answer is that after the Prophet ﷺ passed away, it was prohibited for men to marry his wives, just how it is prohibited for a man to marry his own mother. That's it. That's literally what it means. If you were expecting something that indicates it's a title that is supposed to praise them, then I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that's not what it means.
And there's a few sources we can point to prove this. So, for example, just for brevity's sake, we'll quote Tafsir al-Durr al-Manthur by Jalaluddin al-Suyuti. In Tafsir al-Durr al-Manthur in volume 6, page 50, let me see, is page 56? Page 566, I'm sorry. He says the following: وأخرج ابن أبي حاتم عن قتادة رضي الله عنه في قوله وأزواجه أمهاتهم يقول أمهاتهم في الحرمة لا يحل لمؤمن أن ينكح امرأة من نساء النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم في حياته إن طلق ولا بعد موته هي حرام على كل مؤمن مثل حرمة أمه. Simple and straightforward. That according to this tafsir that he's quoting from Ibn Abi Hatim, he's saying that their mothers in the sense that they cannot marry them. And another one, this is Kitab al-Tafsir al-Kabir by al-Fakhr al-Razi. Very, very simple, very, very short. He says in volume 10, page 30, كما أنه تعالى سمى أزواج النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أمهات المؤمنين في قوله وأزواجه أمهاتهم لأجل الحرمة. So these are just from the books of Tafasir, and I'm pretty sure if you check the other ones like Tabari ibn Kathir, you'll see these athar being quoted as well, these sorts of narrations. But yeah, Brother Lukoris, did you want to continue?
Yeah, Ahsant. So these were Sunni sources, but basically the exact same meaning can be found in our books. Just open any Shia Tafsir book that you have, and you're gonna see that when it says وَأَزْوَاجُهُ أُمَّهَاتُهُم, it simply means al-hurma fi nikah. So it's prohibited for the men to marry them, because as I said, a man cannot marry his own mother. So in this sense, the wives are the mothers of the believers. There's something very interesting I want to point out, is that have you ever wondered or even pondered as to why Aisha or the rest of the wives, they are called al-Mu'minin, meaning the mother of the believing men? Why are the believing women excluded? Is it permissible for us to call her or all of their wives Ummahat al-Mu'minat or not? You ever thought of this, Saif?
We've already sort of answered that question though, because if we look at this, like it's like no one can marry them after the Prophet's death. So this would of course only apply to the men. A woman can't marry the Prophet's wife because that's absurd. We don't believe that type of marriage is possible, correct? So yeah, it's like the thought would cross your mind, but just understanding the meaning of it immediately refutes that notion. And if we may, Aisha herself actually clears this up for us.
That's right.
Yeah.
There are many sources, even within Sunni books, that show that Aisha herself, she confirms this idea that she is only the mother of the believing men and not the mother of the believing woman. An example we can give here, this is الطبقات الكبرى by Ibn Sa'd. And as we can read, it says حدثنا هشام أبو الوليد الطيالسي حدثنا أبو عوانة عن فارس عن عامر عن مسروق أن امرأة قالت لعائشة.
It's عن
sorry.
فراس عن عامر فراس not Faris, Firas. عن عامر.
Oh, Firas, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. عامر is a Sha'bi, عامر بن شرحبيل الشعبي. عن مسروق, the famous tabi'i. And go ahead.
Yeah, that's the sanad. And now for the matan, the content of the hadith, it says أن امرأة قالت لعائشة يا أمة فقالت لست بأمك أنا أمي رجالكم. In English, this will be translated that a woman, she came to Aisha and she told her, "Oh mother." So Aisha replied, "I am not your mother, I am only the mother of your men." And this is, as we have shown, in Tabaqat al-Kubra. Not to be confused with As-Sunan al-Kubra, which is another Sunni books by Bayhaqi, exactly.
And in Sunan al-Bayhaqi, this is volume 7, page 101, and it is hadith number
13422.
Yeah, 13,422. He narrates with a very similar chain. His chain is a little longer because he comes later than Ibn Sa'd. I believe there's a typo here. He says عن فراش. It should be فراس. This is تصحيف here. عن عامر عن مسروق عن عائشة أن امرأة قالت لها يا أمة فقالت أنا أم رجالكم لست بأمك. So a slightly different chain, slightly different wording, but it's the same report. Now, someone may ask, is this report reliable? Is this report ضعيف? Is this report authentic? Because the Tabaqat ibn Sa'ad and Sunan al-Kubra are not graded here, and they are not among the Sahih. So we would respond by saying yes, that there are other books that quoted this same report that do have tahqiq. So for example, in Kitab Masanid Abi Yahya Firas ibn Yahya, who is the same narrator who is narrating the report in Tabaqat ibn Sa'ad and Sunan al-Kubra by al-Bayhaqi. We read here, and this is report number 25 on page 85. He narrates عن فراس عن الشعبي عن مسروق أن امرأة قالت لعائشة يا أمة فقالت إني لست أمك إنما أنا أم رجالكم. طيب. The footnote says إسناده صحيح أخرجه البيهقي في السنن من طريق أبي عوانة عن فراس به وابن سعد في الطبقات. So it's the exact same narration that we just quoted. And this one is graded. The muhaqqaq here is saying that this report is what? This report is authentic.
إسناده صحيح.
صحيح.
Authentic, exactly. Yeah, sorry to cut you out, but I think I already know who you're gonna quote. Is it Tanbih al-Hajid?
You go for it, yeah. You go over that one.
There we go. So this book is called Tanbih al-Hajid, and this is volume 2, page 29. For those who do not know, the author of this book, I believe he's a student of al-Albani. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's a very famous contemporary Sunni scholar, Abi Ishaq al-Huwaini. And there are videos of him online. He has many published works, and he's very well respected. And he was a student of Nasruddin al-Albani. So here he is responding to al-Qurtubi. Al-Qurtubi in his tafsir quoted the same quotation, but he said this is not authentic. So here al-Huwaini, how does he respond to him?
He starts, as we can read, basically saying in caps lock, so we can already imagine he's yelling, قُلْتُ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْكَ. And this is in reference to the narrator of the hadith, just the al-Qurtubi, sorry.
Yeah.
But then he says, فَقَدْ صَحَّ هَذَا عَنْ عَائِشَةَ, meaning this report from Aisha is authentic. رضي الله عنها, of course, من طريق مسروق من الأجدع عنها. Just quoting again the sanad.
Exactly. So this is reliable. And just to hammer the point home, the classical Hanbali scholar Ibn al-Jawzi, in his tafsir book Zad al-Masir fi ilm al-tafsir, he quotes the exact same reference. And we're using the Ibn Hazm print of the book, so it is only one book, there is no volumes. Page 1114. وقد روى مسروق عن عائشة أن امرأة قالت يا أمّا فقالت لست لك بأم إنما أنا أم رجالكم فبان بهذا الحديث أن معنى الأمومة تحريم نكاحهن فقط. So Ibn al-Jawzi, the Hanbali scholar, not a Rafidi scholar, he's a Hanbali scholar. In his book, he looked at this exact same report and he says this is all the umuma means. It means that it's haram to marry them, faqat, period. That's it. So, subhanAllah, this is, when we say this to the mukhalifin, brother, of course, if you're arguing with a mukhalif and he starts saying, Ummi Aisha, and you bring him this, it goes through one ear and out the other. It just goes through one ear and out the other, because an emotional argument is usually put forward by an emotional person, we would say.
It's right. It's sad to see that as much evidence as we bring, they just often ignore it and keep using the emotional arguments, as you said.
Yes.
That's not only for these, but any polemic you can think of, really. But going back to what you just have shown, this scholar, Ibn al-Jawzi, was it? He says, as you said, this only means it's not allowed to marry them. And there's another scholar who has said a very similar thing. This is Ahkam al-Quran by Ibn Arabi. It's a very long, or not that long, but if you want to read it in Arabic, you can, but I'll just say it directly in English. He says people differed on whether they are mothers, is referencing the wives of the Prophet, whether they are mothers of men and women, or if they are specifically mothers of men, holding two views, and he quotes them. But look what he says at the end. It has been narrated that the woman said to Aisha, this is the same hadith that we quoted before, "O mother," she replied, "I am not your mother. I am only the mother of your men." And what he says at the end, "and this is the correct view." So as we can see, it's not only one scholar who says this, but many scholars who hold this view that it only means you're not allowed to marry them.
Ahsantum. Now, I would like to quote one more thing to Unwan. I want to quote something that is just a little surprise for the people who like to talk about Ummi Aisha, she's our mother, we can't fight our mother, just to highlight something for them. This is Kitab al-Mustadrak ala Sahihain. And this is a very dangerous report. In Kitab al-Mustadrak ala Sahihain, in volume 4, page 393, and this is Tab'at Dar al-Kutub al-Ilmiya, and I also checked the print of Mu'assasat al-Risala, which has a separate muhakkak other than the obviously al-Hakim's comment and al-Dhahabi's talkhis. Even they affirm that the report is good, if I remember correctly. Al-Dhahabi, as we can see here in the talkhis, for hadith number 8039, قال في التلخيص صحيح. طيب, let's read this report. This report he narrates with his chain, which as we said is صحيح, عن عمرو بن غالب قال دخل عمار على عائشة يوم الجمل فقال السلام عليك يا أمه. Aisha says to the women, I'm not your mother, I am the women of your men. I am the mother of your men. طيب, Ammar is one of the Muslim men, isn't he? طيب, so what does Aisha say? لست لك بأم. Now, there are three possibilities here. Either Aisha believes Ammar is a woman, or Aisha is disregarding the Quranic ayah. She's like, the Quran says you are al-Muminoon, and she's saying, no, I'm not al-Muminin. Or she believes that Ammar is not a mu'min, and we will leave the mukhalifin, we will leave them to answer this question. So when she said this to Ammar, Ammar قال بلى إنك أمي وإن كرهتي. وإن كرهتي, what does that indicate?
Like even though you hate it, so you're obliged to believe
it. Even though you dislike it. Aisha, why do you dislike being the mother of Ammar? Ammar is a mu'min. طيب? Ammar is one of the mu'mineen. And his father and his mother were among the mu'mineen. They were the first shuhada in Islam. And he is one of the great shuhada in Islam. And Aisha herself, she narrates, she says that Ammar, when he is given the choice between two matters, what does he do?
He always picks the right choice.
He always picks the right choice. And I would like to actually quote that hadith, inshallah, for some of the brothers, because we want to gain some ajr and thawab for mentioning the fada'il of Ammar ibn Yasir. If you would give me just 1 second. This is Kitab Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal from Mu'assasat al-Risala, the print of Mu'assasat al-Risala, with tahqiq by Shu'aib al-Arnaout. And this is volume 41, page 322, hadith 24,820. So Aisha says, and this report is very interesting, we could do a whole discussion on this one, but for brevity's sake, جاء رجل فوقع في علي وفي عمار رضي الله تعالى عنهما. A man came and insulted Ali and Ammar in front of Aisha, عند عائشة. فقالت أما علي فلست قائلة لك فيه شيء. As for Ali, I will not say anything about him. Insult Ali, I'm not going to say anything. وأما عمار فإني سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يقول لا يخير بين أمرين إلا اختار أرشدهما. Ammar is not given the choice between two matters except that he chooses the best of them, or that he opts for the best of them. So now we go back to the hadith in Mustadrak. Why, Aisha, why do you hate to be considered the mother of Ammar? Is Ammar not a mu'min? You yourself narrate that Rasulullah said he is not given a choice between two matters and he chooses the best of them. So he chose to fight against you. Why are you upset at him for this? He did the right thing.
Makes you wonder how al-Mu'minin isn't always something positive.
Exactly. So I wish to quote, do you mind if I quote one last report?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
This is Kitab al-Aqd al-Farid by Ibn Abd Rabba al-Andalusi. And this will be the last, I believe, do you have something else, of course? Or inshallah we'll conclude with this one.
Not really. I mean, I have more sources saying it only means you're not allowed to marry them, as Tafsir al-Jalalain, but I know you hate that one, so we're not going to show it.
Yeah. Tafsir al-Jalalain is by Jalaluddin al-Suyuti and another scholar, I believe. So we've already quoted Suyuti in Tafsir al-Dur al-Manthur. But yeah, let's see if this one will be a good one to end off on. This is Kitab al-Aqd al-Farid by Ibn Abd Rabbah, and this is another interesting report. About the meaning of al-Mu'minin and the consequences of al-Mu'minin. In Kitab al-Aqd al-Farid, in volume 5, page 79, it says, ودخلت أوفى العبدية على عائشة بعد واقعة الجمل فقالت لها يا المؤمنين ما تقولين في امرأة قتلت ابنا لها صغيرا؟ قالت وجبت لها النار. قالت فما تقولين في امرأة قتلت من أولادها الكبار 20,000 في صعيد واحد؟ فقالت خذوا بيد عدوة الله. So this woman came to Aisha and she said to her, Ya al-Mu'minin, what do you think is the punishment of a woman who murders her young child? So he says, she said to her, fire. وجبت لها النار. فقالت فما تقولين في امرأة قتلت من أولادها الأكابر 20,000 في صعيد واحد? What do you think of a woman who kills, how many is it? 20,000. 20,000 in one day. Or in one place. 20,000 at once. And this is referring to what?
The Battle of Jamal.
حرب الجمل. أحسنت. قالت خذوا بيد عدوة الله. Take this enemy of Allah away. Get her out of here. So we now ask this question. She's al-Mu'minin. So now that she's al-Mu'minin, you say this is a merit. So we ask the question, طيب, she's al-Mu'minin. How many mu'minin did she kill in Harb al-Jamal? And what is the punishment for that?
I mean, Saif, to be honest, the only reasonable response I can give is the same one that Aisha said, which is just go away from me, you enemy of Allah.
leave us alone, you enemy of Allah. But with that being said, I think that's pretty much it. Again, this was a really easy one. It's not that difficult. Unless there's anything you want to add?
Not really. I think that's pretty much it. It's just a common shubha that you hear every day, but as we have shown, it's pretty easy to refute.
Jazakallah khair, ya akhi. I want to thank you for joining me. I want to thank you for helping me to go over these sources. I want to thank the brothers and sisters. We hope that this is efficient, inshallah. Again, I think going into, if you go over the other tafasir, at that point it would just be overkill. They're all saying the same thing. We have a sahih athar to Aisha herself. But with that being said, thank you all for listening in. We hope to serve you with other, inshallah, more content in the future. We'll be going over other shubhas, inshallah. And please make sure you watch Brother Lucorios' other videos. Please make sure you watch our biographies. And if you have any other shubhas you would like us to go over, leave them down below in the comments. But with that being said, we will end with Surah Al-Fatiha. تسبقها الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
اضرب السيدة عائشة. اضرب السيدة عائشة. اضرب السيدة